and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, all. Let me see if I can get on the same page.
Want a hard copy?
I had one and I left it in the car.
Makes it easier.
Yeah. Okay. 6:30, we have Erica Johnson. Hello.
Hello.
Come on up. Kind of informal tonight.
It's a public hearing.
This is do we have a legal announcement? No?
Yep, it's right here.
Okay. We'll call to order for a public hearing. Let's see. This is to discuss the FY10 performance hearing progress report on the CDBG funded activities. Topics include housing rehabilitation projects in 4 towns, housing market study, preliminary site identification. Persons will have the opportunity to be heard. Erica, you have the floor.
Right. Did you receive, do you have a copy in your? Yes.
Yeah, it might be in here.
Excellent. I also have a sign-in sheet, if you don't mind. I just have, I'll start with you, a few autographs to show I was here. So as part of our grant agreement with the state, I'm here to discuss the progress of the community development block grant and answer any questions that people may have. So, here goes. With the handout that I provided, I just did a brief overview. There were two projects within the grant. One being the housing rehabilitation piece, the other being the housing market study and site analysis. The housing market study and site analysis, that's been completed. Regina's actually in the other room copying over one of the documents because it was too big to email, and also a quick cumbersome to print out. So that's been completed. The other component of that was the housing rehabilitation project, and I just had some quick statistics on that I put on here. With the funds that we received, we were able to rehab 19 units total, and it broke down to 9 in Southampton, 4 in Granville, 3 in Blandford, 3 in Montgomery. I added in beneficiary statistics in there, as well as how the money breakdown actually worked between the 4 towns. So overall, we were able to assist 44 separate individuals between the 19 units, 20 of them being in the town of Southampton. Projects ranged in the housing rehab from small projects, $2,000 to $3,000, to things that were over $40,000. Roofs, septic, windows. It really was because there was so many units, there was a wide variety of projects that we were able to complete with the funds. We are almost completely done with the grant. We have a time extension that goes until the end of this calendar year for the purpose of finishing up some final housing rehab. There's always 1 or 2 that seem to drag on a little longer than the others, and this grant is no exception, but everything should be finished up in the near future as it's getting colder, and we'll be able to close the grant out by the end of this calendar year.
So with these, was it 19 households you used, the money's exhausted or it's all been dedicated?
It is primarily exhausted. It's those last little details that are still in the works. We'll know if we have any additional funds left over. We were able, because we did have funds, we were able to do an additional unit more than we had expected. We'll have to see. There may be some funds left over, but right now it doesn't look like there's going to be much.
Pardon me for some of my questions. I wasn't here when the board approved this, so I just want to make sure I'm familiar with everything you're doing. But is this the last year, or is this, and we in the middle of the program?
This
or?
is the end.
Okay.
This is actually the end of the program. Like I said, the study, the analysis piece of it, the housing planning piece has been completed. And there's, most of the housing rehab projects have been completed as well. There's just a few, there's one project in particular that has become a little more difficult than we had originally anticipated.
Is that the one with the Board of Health?
That.
Is that involved with that one?
Yes, yes. That is infinitely more difficult than we had anticipated, but we press on.
That's true.
We press on. Those are the good ones. Those are the ones you learn from. So, thank you.
All right, does anybody else have any questions? And then, does anybody in the public have any questions for the grant? The
I
housing
have a
rehab-
question, excuse me.
Community Development Block Grant.
I was just curious about the housing market study and site analysts. It says market study, and that you've strategies to meet these needs, action plan for the future. Are you going to be doing this again, or is this money, has this included that future projects at all?
It included kind of a feasibility study of potential future projects, but there's no money for actual
Right,
future projects.
but the money was allocated for future projects in this particular grant.
This grant paid for the study to
Okay.
look at future projects, and that has been completed.
Good.
Yes.
Do we have copies of that study yet?
You do now.
One question I have about it, now that this is the end of this, but it doesn't mean it's the end, there's a lot of paperwork to do, I understand. Are we waiting for another round to submit based on the survey and the study?
The next round has been a little undecided. Things have been slow this year usually at this point of the year, the state has released their one-year plan going forward, and we have some ideas about the guidelines for next year. That typically happens in July. That meeting actually happened today. So that whole process has been pushed back. And if the town is interested in pursuing future grants.
From my standpoint, I think that depends on what the study shows and what the feedback is back from that. It would be important. I am excited to see that 19 individuals benefited from Southampton to the tune of $176,000. That benefited some people, obviously, that needed this assistance, wouldn't have gotten anywhere else.
Yes.
And so you can take it back to your people and tell them that we want to be considered in the future and to talk to us in the future. Okay? That's my opinion. I don't know if the board wants to make that.
No, it's helped. Question on the market study, preliminary site identification for future affordable housing.
Yes.
Where is that? I assume it's in there, but...
It's in there.
But give us a little update on affordable.
Sure. So there were several pieces of that. One that we completed in-house, one that was done by an outside consultant. So it was looking at overall what are the needs in each of the communities, looking at demographics, looking at trends in the housing market, looking at what future needs may be, what's most feasible in each town, and then the market study went a step further in identifying potential sites that may be appropriate for future development or redevelopment for affordable housing. So the way that was the way that the site identification process was handled was to do an overall inventory of sites available, either vacant or vacant as no building or vacant as a building that is no longer in use. Looking at potentials there, and then whittling down that list to a top 5, and then actually a specific parcel, and how that could best be used by each of the towns. So that process kind of went through that. That study looks at that process. It actually identifies a specific location and housing type for each of the 4 towns.
Do we have any locations? Were there any specific parcels or?
Yeah, actually, I have to.
Or
I have to
areas of
consult
town?
my notes.
All right, but maybe just in general with the areas of town?
Sure, as
Affordable.
far as specific areas, being not as familiar with Southampton as perhaps someone could be, I won't speak to that, but the top site that was singled out for the town was a vacant parcel on Silver Street.
We don't have a
Silver Street.
Wait, hold on. I'm looking at the wrong notes. Let me try that again.
It's all right. We've all been
That's
there.
what happens with 4 towns, a big paper clip. Let's try this one again. All right, Pomeroy Meadow Road. That sound better?
Yeah, that sounds better, but I don't know.
All right, okay, so the most preferred site in Southampton was 8991 Pomeroy Meadow Road, because of its location near town center, the walkability of the neighborhood. One thing that was constant in all 4 towns, in the analysis of what was needed most was senior affordable housing. Recognizing the changing demographics in all of the towns toward an older population, and it was looking at that Pomeroy Meadow site as a good location for that type of development.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions? Hearing no questions, seeing no hands, I will conclude the public hearing on the block grant. Anything else you need from us?
I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess I will ask for one more thing, since I'm already here. If you could sign my sign-in sheet and prove that we were all here together this evening, that would be most helpful.
I'm in my computer right now, and I'm trying to copy it into Dropbox so that they can see that thing, but hold on to that. Okay, hold on to that, because I have my own copy.
Oh, so, all right.
Jackie.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't say that. Is it Rukowski? Rukowski?
Yeah.
Is he
Dan
coming?
Rukowski.
Is it Mr. Rukowski coming tonight?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we can come in, that's at 7, so we've got signatures.
Yeah, we can do those.
The school committee one. We don't have to do anything with that school committee one, that's just a detail, right? Thank you.
Great, nice.
And then we have a Southampton payroll warrant P13-13 in the amount of $230,147.82. Someone want to make a motion
I'll make a motion.
to sign?
Well, I can't sign.
Oh, you can't. Oh.
Neither of them.
So David signed, oh, we can do, David, oh, but we can't.
David's not coming. They'll just have to come in and sign it.
No, he signed them,
He already did.
but we don't, can't do motions to sign them tonight because we're just gonna have to sign them. So that people get paid.
So, I mean, I can't sign it.
Wait, oh, you can't, she can't
No.
sign it? Oh,
No.
oh, because Tom's on it.
Yeah.
She can sign that, though.
Yeah, you know,
The bill warrant, there's a bill in there.
just out of curiosity, is there a school department payroll with my wife's name on it?
Oh, I didn't even check.
I think the payroll's in the other form.
No, payroll.
The school's in there?
P13.
For Hampshire Regional or for?
Yeah, but
Hampshire Regional's not worried about.
Yeah, but she sometimes gets paid through the local, depending on the season. And sometimes she just shows up as zeros. No. So then we have a treasury warrant. Jackie can't sign this. You can't sign a check.
Well, it's for Tom, for the school. It's not made out to Tom, but it's for the training that he's going to.
Better off not. Okay. The warrant, PCS,
Nothing at this time.
reappointments, Greenway, oh, so that's one-day license, Southampton Fire Department.
That's in your signatures. I make a motion to approve the one-day permit for the fire department, or association to have a pig roast at Corner Park.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I need to buy it.
Did I?
I thought you did, maybe.
This is for the...
So, Firefighters Association.
No, they made it the fire department.
Okay, then I'll change my motion to the Southampton Fire Department. One-day license to hold a pig roast with a liquor
October
license.
13th.
On October 13th.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Needs to get signed.
No, just one signature.
License. The license has multiple.
Jackie.
I don't think there's any, did you talk to,
I scanned it and I sent it to them, and they're gonna look at it. He's sending it to the legal, the other.
I'd be happy to go to that.
my point is that I don't think they can sue us in small claims.
Yeah, this is for a $2 million job.
Well, it's a municipality. They can't
Yeah,
be sued.
yeah, but the other thing too is they were denied by the clerk of works and also the architect.
All right. Well, you may be needed for testimony. Then we have an extension between, you know what, I'm going to screw these all up here. We have a request for an extension between Michael Wojciechowicz and the town of Southampton for the property on Brickyard Road. They need to extend to October 31st for closing. Do we need to sign anything?
Just a verbal.
Just the verb?
Well, why are we extending it? Because of the tax title?
It was something with the title. Yeah, and
Why are we doing that?
the buyer always does, but I think the problem is also the wording on things that are still on the property that need to be taken off. They ran into something and they've gone over it. The original purchase and sale expired, I think, on September 30th, and this is...
Well, are we paying for the tax now?
I would-
Search, I thought it was.
I think, yeah, it's a title search, and we would normally pay for the title search. The buyer would pay for this title search, so we are the buyer. But you're not looking at that's not a big bill.
I hope not.
No. So I would accept a motion to continue until October 30th for the closing on,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And this is where it starts to get confusing. Oh, we can take care of
We have a
this.
bill from Pioneer Valley.
Yeah, we got a couple of them. This is for the block grant, or, no, this is for the community development. This
That's
is
the
a,
one where the state gave us $737,000. They bill us because they can't pay themselves.
Right, we're the
So-
administrator.
Right, so that comes from the 737,
that's on, there's a line item for it.
yeah.
And this is for $5,357 for mostly labor. And,
Postage.
yeah, subcontract Rick Barris.
Reggie, is that on page 24?
That is on, yes.
Housing rehabilitation. Oh, this is what was just here.
Yeah, we were just here.
Yeah. This is for the program that was just here.
I have no problem with it.
So, it's motion to sign.
It's a total. Right there. What's this total here? That's four.
That's big and then we end.
Okay. I make a motion to sign for Pioneer Valley Planning Commission's payment of $5,357.56 for the housing grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Need your pen?
Oh, I have to sign this.
Is Tom coming in tonight? Tom Sears? On this reappointment, on the appointment?
I
No,
didn't ask him to come in.
Okay.
he's teaching a plumbing class in Smith Voc.
You want us to use my house as a demonstration? Let me go ahead.
So I take it he's not using the old town hall?
No,
Okay.
We have an application to permanently appoint how does that go? Permanent alternate plumbing gas inspector for Glenn Halkett for the town of Southampton. That would be for when Tom Sears is not available. But we can't do this tonight.
Oh, yeah, right.
There's two of the majority here.
You know, you don't have a quorum without her. Although this does not really,
She's not really related to Mr.
you know,
Holland.
this, you're not really, it's just, Tom is making the recommendation.
I believe she should be able to vote. It's not directing, it's not benefiting.
It's not benefiting her, no. So I'll take a motion. Appoint-
Make a motion to appoint
Where is it? Glenn Halkett.
Glenn Halkett as permanent alternate plumbing and gas inspector.
And we should note that he's already serving in that capacity. We're just making the appointment.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we don't have to do anything with this, Reg?
No.
No.
And then we have the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission again for the master plan implementation services, and this gets complicated. This is really a nightmare.
Yep.
I don't know how we can authorize, there's no money in the budget, right? Nick, we can't authorize.
Can't spend money we don't have.
So, and we don't have any, we don't know what the free cash number is, even if we wanted to spend that, and I'm not sure we want to.
Well, we're gonna need to know what the free cash number is to find
Find
out what we've already authorized or about to authorize.
Right. I think,
Put that on hold for another week and see if
yeah,
we
well, I
can.
think I'll have to communicate to Hank that we can't approve this with no money to back it up.
Okay.
So I guess I would take a motion to table it for at least 2 weeks until we can, I don't even know at the end of 2 weeks where we're going to be with this.
Well, we should hopefully, I mean, we're not going to get certified free cash, but we should have an idea at least what's, if we have any money left over from last year.
Well, and we still have to bear in mind that we had that $90,000 owed to the school, so
And we have commitments
Numbers.
on other things.
the number would have to exceed $90,000 before we could even consider this. Is there a number here, how much they're looking for?
20?
That's the number I remember now.
Now, that never got put into the budget. Am I right?
I think it got lost between the capital budget and the regular town budget. It was in the capital budget, but never got funded into the annual
I
town.
don't, to be honest with you, I don't think the capital committee even met, did they?
No.
Because I know I had put separate articles that were in the capital item, but I put them in separately.
Is there any money left in that capital budget?
It's got to come out as a town vote.
Yeah.
They're individual.
But is there money there?
I don't know.
They came out of that money came out of the stabilization funds. We just put 100,000, but we just put 58,000 out of it for the school.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of money there.
No, I think this is going to be a tough road. I got to call Hank on this. I guess motion to table that? So the earliest we could do anything about this is if once we know free cash is. And
No, we can't do anything.
and we can't, and even then, it's a question whether we want to spend the money on that.
Well, I believe they've been doing work, so we
I'm-
can communicate with Hank.
I was here Wednesday night for their meeting, and they tried to explain what went wrong, and I think it went way wrong. So, that's that. So we're tabling that. We signed that.
Dan's here.
Dan's here. I'm going to follow all over your name, and I apologize. Rukakowski?
Pretty close. Rukakowski.
I'm sorry?
Rukakowski.
Rukakowski, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm Mike Phelan.
Yeah, good to see you.
That's
Jackie
Jackie's here.
Sears.
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Where am I? Your letter is right there. You would like to be appointed to the Greenway Committee. How many vacancies do we have? One? Questions from anybody?
I know Dan, I've worked with Dan before in the past. He's an excellent asset to have for that committee. He served on the Conservation Commission, for 3 years?
Yeah, back in the early 2000s.
Someone from the Greenway Committee is here. Any comments?
I've been we know Dan really socially, being your neighbors, and I've been chasing after Dan for 3 years to get involved in this project.
So
Regarding
that's,
this project, few things would please me more than if you were to join the committee.
so that's an affirmative.
Well, tentative, but yeah.
Tentative? Why, you want to hold them up?
You agree, yeah.
That being the grilling for the interview process, does anybody have a motion?
I make a motion to appoint Dan to the, is it officially Greenway Committee?
Design and Acquisition Committee, it says.
Okay.
That's the new name to me. I was called the
Well,
Greenway
maybe-
Committee.
I call it the Greenway Committee, but
We call ourselves the Greenway Committee, but
Evidently, you have an official name.
It's the short name.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was great.
Thank you.
Is Eileen here?
She is.
Does he need
I'm doing the
to?
appointment right now.
What are
I'm doing
you?
the appointment slip right now.
Oh, okay, so he's going to do your appointment, and then you go see Jane, and you'll be on board as of tonight.
Okay.
I do have one more.
this is a
Oh,
12-year commitment.
I have a question, it's not regarding, your position and everything, but how many miles a week do you ride? Do you
Do
bike?
do I ride a bike?
Yeah,
It depends, probably in the past year, not that many. I've run more than I've ridden.
oh, you're a runner.
So, no, my interest in the Greenway Committee is not necessarily, well, I would like to see a bike path in town. I have young children, and we certainly do use the Easthampton bike path on a fairly regular basis, but not every day. But, I'm more interested because I think that I can bring something to the team as far as permitting and the ecological aspects that are going to be required down the road. And I know a lot of engineers who can who could shed some light and help us through the process.
Good.
I think Reggie's gone to print your appointment. Thank you very much for serving.
Thank you. You have me now.
Well, Doug is...
Doug is off.
Doug is hunting.
When verbally, I've heard that he withdrew.
Right, I heard the same thing, and now we only have one opening, so.
So that's it. It's full. Doug Blanchard, we removed his name from consideration.
Doug probably writes more than any of us.
Right?
10 miles every day.
Every day.
Oh.
Amanda, we'll get you in here a little early.
Okay, so you're ready for me?
I think so.
All right. So I'm here on behalf of George and Candace Gunn, and they are now selling Lot 3B on Pleasant Street to the neighbor who currently owns Lot 4 and has built a house there. The sales price is $100,000, and we are asking you to not exercise your right of first refusal.
I think we'd love to exercise our right of first refusal except for the money. This is
There's
lot.
not a house going on this one, is my understanding.
This is part of the farm?
This is part of the farm. This was the last lot on Pleasant Street.
Southampton.
And it's the Fentons who currently own Lot 4 are the ones who are looking to purchase it. So they just want to have it to have a buffer.
What, it's lot, they live on lot 4 and...
They built a house on Lot 4, and this is Lot 3B. We've already sold all the other,
Oh, 3B.
this
I
was
see.
the last one, I believe, on Pleasant Street.
Okay. Well, there you go. So this will be the last time we do it.
Is there any more lots?
I don't
Well, there'd be...
think so. I know there's some negotiations about the land on the other side of that. I'm not,
Well, that's what I was
I don't
concerned
know
about.
what the decision has been yet, so I can't tell you if there are.
Okay, I was just
lots or not.
curious.
I mean, there's one big parcel left with frontage that could be subdivided.
Yeah, but I think there's other lots there too.
Yeah, on the other side.
Yeah, I have no problem with releasing it from first refusal. Especially when that land is going to stay as open space primarily.
Of course, there's no guarantee on that.
No, there's no guarantee, but
Well, you have issues of merger, and then
Yeah.
because there's a common ownership, and
Right.
cutting you out, so.
But the lot exceeds the minimums anyway, so they're not non-conforming lots.
And that may change. in the
It may
future.
change.
If it changes, then they have to go through the process again.
So we have a motion not to exercise? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have to sign once.
There's 2 copies, one, so I don't have to run down the hall and make a copy.
Get your track shoes on, Tony.
Could you tell me where in here? I have a little map.
Where the,
Yeah,
so we're over here.
Okay.
So this is the lot that you guys just waived. You're right, and these are the people, these
Yeah.
are the people that are purchasing it.
oh,
The
okay.
people on Lot 4.
They did a
They've already
great,
built a house there.
the houses look beautiful, did a really good job.
There's primarily been, I think, 2 builders out there. It's
Yeah.
mostly been Jim Boyle, I think, has built most of those. The Lot 4 was New England Remodeling.
Looks nice.
Do I take it we're already down to interim town administrator's report?
Yes.
Okay. Amanda needs one of these?
Yes.
Amanda
Thank
needs the
you.
original?
Just the 2 copies, not the whole packet.
Oh, just, what do you want her to have?
Just the top 2 copies that you have right there.
She gets these two,
Yes, please.
and then we get this.
You're welcome.
we need to do open time for the public, though.
Did we skip that?
Yeah, we did. We didn't have it. I don't think we did.
We didn't, no, I didn't do it, but where is it now on here?
It's under Attorney Zadonis.
There's only 2 signatures.
Uh-oh.
And you've been,
See, we were really efficient until we did that.
Sorry about that. There.
That's not even supposed to be till 7:30, so,
It's at 7:31.
huh?
I guess we should wait for that one.
That one. So Reggie, interim town manager, town administrators.
On my report, you've already completed the Brickyard Road extension. The next item is the Veteran Service Officer. As you are aware, we have a vacancy, and I communicated with the other communities as to who is willing to stay with us and who is going to go on their way. Westhampton and Huntington had already completed their interviews. Huntington, I found out yesterday, already appointed a person. Westhampton completed the interviews, including the gentleman that Mr. Messier is recommending. Chester and Blandford are willing to stay with us, or use the same person that we appoint.
Did you find out what their stipends were toward them?
Yes.
Because I was told we're the only ones that gave stipends, and I was surprised about that.
No, Southampton, we do the highest, $7,067 an annual stipend. Westhampton is $1,538. Huntington is $1,798. Blandford is $1,600, and Chester is $1,500.
And
As
who's-
far as expenses, we are the community that does the $300 a year expense. However, in the past, when we need to purchase a laptop or a computer, they have contributed a portion of the expenses towards those large purchases. But here's the question. The one community questioned, they helped with the purchase of the laptop. Well, now that we're no longer going to share,
They want their money back.
what do you do? Right.
Well, what the problem I have is this town of Southampton has been supplying an office, phone, heat, hot water, everything for this gentleman to perform all these duties, and we received nothing from these other towns.
Does he have town, do they have an office in their towns for him?
The only one is Huntington.
They have an office now, and he goes there.
He used to, but now they've appointed their own person.
So did Bob make a recommendation for us for
He
appointment?
did. And, oh, you know what, I didn't bring that with me. I'll go get that. And, yes, let me go get that.
All right.
I'll be right back.
I think we should be posting this.
Yeah, but can we, someone got a hold of her today or whenever and said the problem is with nobody here, the vets aren't able to get their benefits. So we need to make an
We can
emergency.
find out if some like Easthampton cover us until this happens.
Right, so we need to make an emergency temporary appointment so they can go somewhere to get the benefits that, right now they can't get benefits at all and then post it. I agree with you, for $7,000 we should be posting it.
Well, it seems like we don't know what's going on with these other towns, where this funding came in, because on the day he left, I asked him, that we were going to post this job, and he explained to me that other towns are posting the job too, and that was a surprise to me, because I thought we were the only towns involved with this that was supporting a salary, but there are several towns supporting a salary, so we couldn't hire anybody with this additional salary allotment that was by other towns, which we're not in charge of.
No.
But it does seem kind of out of control that we have an office here with a veterans agent working for several different towns, and everybody's coming here for their benefits except for one town. And we're eating all these costs. And I'm in favor of taking care of the vets, don't get me wrong, but these other towns share responsibility for doing all these things.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. I think that there was a rather informal way how long has he been the veterans agent?
Well, he's the one we've had the longest.
Yeah, but how long? I can't remember.
6 or 7 years, 8 years, maybe longer,
I think he predates me.
maybe on the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Not history-wise, no.
No. I just think that, we're going to be posting, spending money. I agree with you, we need to take care of the vets and make sure there's somebody in place temporarily, and that should be a temporary position, but in the meantime, there's other agents that I've talked to that are interested in coming here.
Well, I think we need to appoint somebody, a temporary agent, so that they can even take care of the benefit situation in town. I don't know whether this guy is like one of the ones from another town,
I don't know.
so.
I don't know. I don't know what Reggie knows, and if she could fill in the blanks, maybe it'd be helpful.
My apologies for not putting it, but I did.
There was something in our packet here, and I just skipped over it.
Now, what's this for, Mike?
Yeah, if you can pass it down.
What page is that on in the, there's something about the veterans agent in the packet, and I missed it when I went through it. What page is it, Reg?
Starts on 28, so probably 29. It starts on.
There it is, okay. Why does it keep skipping?
So one of the concerns, especially the town of Chester has expressed, is they're going to temporarily appoint Mr. Henning because they don't want to be without a veterans agent. They want to ensure that the veterans are still going to get paid on a timely basis and so forth. So I would like to recommend the same thing until you make your final decision.
I have no problem appointing this guy temporarily. I mean temporarily, but the job's going to be posted, because I think we have some work to do to straighten this thing out with all these other communities and make sure it's divvied up properly. I mean, I'd like to know, out of Southampton, how many veterans are we serving from these other towns, and we need to talk to these other towns if they want to have us take care of this and have our offices and our buildings open. One thing I was concerned about is this building was open on Fridays many days, so he could handle agents, but the building is officially closed. And I found people walking around down the basement, upstairs, so I just feel uncomfortable if we need to establish rules and guidelines on how people come into this building, as well as, maintaining this. And I know Mr. Mercier liked to work on Fridays and deal with them, but Town Hall was not officially open. So those are things that we need to...
Do we know if this Henning is the agent anywhere?
Chester appointed Mr. Henning
Chester.
as a temporary basis until we figure out what we're doing, or who you're going to appoint as the permanent.
Well, I think we got to interview him first. I'd like to know about him.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable request. I think we should...
Okay, so bring him in on
Next available.
the 16th.
I mean, we can meet next week if he's available,
Yeah.
Okay. There's no meeting on the 9th, so you guys would like to meet on the 9th?
Yeah. And if anything comes in the meantime, maybe we can...
Yeah.
Does an agent have to be bonded in order to be dealing with, was Bob ever?
I don't know that answer.
I mean, when you're dealing with the
Well,
money.
he's not dealing with money, he's dealing with
The veterans.
paperwork.
Do
And
they
they're-
allocate any funds to the veterans?
Yes, they do.
So do they have to be bonded?
I would probably not for federal, but...
No, I don't think they have to be bonded. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe it's a paperwork trail. The money comes from our coffers, and they're reimbursed at a, 50 or 60% rate from the federal and state government.
Can you see if there's a job description for this person?
For the position?
Yeah.
I
I
don't
already
think there
submitted
is.
that to you on your last meeting of September 18th. You've already reviewed it and...
For the veterans agent, there's a job description?
Was it in here and we didn't do it, or we did?
You did it at town meeting. You've already approved it, and it was personal requisition.
Oh, that
form.
personal forms that came...
Oh, that was a PCF.
Yeah.
No, there was a personal requisition form there, too.
But was there a job description attached to it? Can you get that back out for us?
If you go into your Dropbox, and you go back to your main menu, if you go into September's month, you'll see the agenda.
We should
I'm sorry, you know what? I don't have it. You guys, the personnel board has it right now.
But it's not in here,
No, it was on your agenda, I'm sorry.
it's just on the agenda.
Right.
Okay. So can you get out the job description that goes with that?
They're not meeting tonight, right?
Who?
Finance Committee?
I think they are,
I think they're posted anyway.
yeah. Do you want this, you want me to grab it now?
I
Or do you
don't
want
think we
it-
have to have it now, but. I
No,
think-
we'll have it for next week.
Next week.
the-
And ask him to come in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have to come talk to him. I just, before we get off the subject, are we gonna do something for Mr. Messier? Some kind of gathering, maybe with the other towns coming here? I know we'll use our resources, but, I mean, how long did he work here?
Since Brenda's been here, so,
Since Brenda? I thought
Yeah.
he's been here before me.
yeah. I don't know exactly the number of years, but it's been a while.
At least 10 years?
Yeah.
So maybe we should consider doing like.
We did a little like a brunch, coffee, donut, and, you know, wish you farewell. But he didn't want the other communities to be invited. I think they're doing their own thing.
Oh, okay, good.
Would you like to do something more?
Well, no, I mean, as long as we, thanked him for his service and,
He's supposed to stop back in one more time, so. Sign the necessary paperwork.
Okay, Reggie, moving on, your report.
The other items, town hall maintenance, is just updating the board in regards to our state elevator inspector came. We were not ready. We were not notified that they were coming, so they will be back on or around November 28th. We will hopefully have everything ready. The custodial, Ed had posted the posting for the custodial position. So we're still, 2 highway laborers are still coming and helping us with the custodial work. 5-Star, we received notification, 5-Stars filed a claim against Small Claims Court for 1820.
Which we sent on to our legal department.
Yeah. Master plan update, you guys already,
Yeah, that's the $20,000 missing,
yeah, or non-funded.
non-funded.
I've included in the packet the interim town administrator review to be completed, sent to Mike so that he may tally.
Yeah, I'll give you guys my, or if you do a paper one, then you gotta give it to me personally, otherwise you can do it on email. You can email it to me at the office.
No, I just want to, why are we doing this evaluation on an interim?
We do it, we're supposed to be doing it every 13 weeks, but we have failed more than we've agreed, we've succeeded in doing that. And she hasn't had one now, I bet you, in 6 months, or ever, longer. One of the positions, when we took her, we put her on as temporary, we said we would do a evaluation every 13 weeks.
No, I looked at the evaluation and the way it's set up, and I looked at, compared it to the job description that I'm aware of, and I think it's very difficult, and it would not necessarily help Reggie in a clear distinction of how this job is going versus what the town has approved for the job description.
I think that's the one that Reggie sent around is the one that Jess had used.
No, I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen any job description. These I've...
Oh, John, no, I'm saying evaluation form.
No, I changed it.
Oh, you-
I went through MMA and other communities who evaluate their town administrators and town managers.
See, you shouldn't be giving us a job description for an evaluation.
Okay.
Well, we should be getting our own.
Well, I don't think it's a job description evaluation.
It's an evaluation.
Performance evaluation.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know how you want to...
I know that
She was
the
a
job descriptions I've seen that were done with even Diane Schindler, I wasn't really impressed on how the questions, they were very generic, they were very vague on answering. And when you take a look at the job description, it requires an awful lot of work to be done that currently we're not getting done. It's not her fault, it's just that the job has not been posted.
Well, is some evaluation better than no evaluation, is the point? You know, she hasn't had any feedback from any of us,
You haven't done any evaluations?
not to my knowledge, just one when Jess was still.
Is that the one that was not complete, it was incomplete?
I'm not
It
sure.
wasn't done by everybody, it was only done by one or two?
It's done by everybody.
That one was done by everybody. The one that we tried to do about 2 or 3 months ago only got done by 2 of us.
Right.
That's the one.
And that's the same form. I didn't change that form.
But we should be giving her some evaluation. So whether you choose to do it using the form, or you choose to do it in a narrative, or you choose to do it in whatever form you choose to do it,
It's fine.
we should, you have
But
the
this
form.
is something the board decided on?
You have the form, right?
I don't see why we're not giving her some help.
Well, we did post,
Right.
That's got to go through the channels of being
Well,
scored.
here's the other thing too, is in years past, we've done this. I mean, I do believe that we're going to be looking at this job in the very near future, and we need to resolve this interim thing to a permanent thing. I noticed that she told me you had had some help, and not what, you like to have more help. And I understand that. Is there, in the past, we've hired temporary help to come in and work? We've hired them from a professional agency. Is that off the table or on the table?
since I've been here, I was not aware.
Well, I think we hired some professional secretarial service to come in for the assessors.
Oh, well,
Before my time.
that's nothing that I'm aware of. Not that.
I'm just saying that if the work's not getting done because there's no help in there, this process is still 6 or 7 weeks off from being completed.
Oh, it's at least that, but, well, you had.
No, I'm not talking about the posting of this, the assistant.
Oh, yeah, but we, oh, yeah.
I would like to see some other way to expedite this without tying the town's
Well,
hands.
what's her
up.
name, still calling?
She is.
She's still calling?
Yeah.
Because we have one on the tax work off. That she comes in how many hours a week?
Friday mornings.
Oh.
But she had to hold back because it can only work so many hours and not go over.
Yeah. Well, the wheels of justice are grinding along slowly on the position. And not that, and I agree, I don't think it's gonna be done for 6 weeks, but it's going. We talked about the fire chief and the town administrator looking at their job descriptions and is that on here?
I didn't get a chance. There's, like I said, there's different. I don't know which one's the right one, which one's the wrong one.
Well, then give us all of them and we'll decide that.
I mean, I have the one, I believe the one that was done by the committee, and I looked at that, and I also found one for the fire chief that was in the policy procedures, and I don't think they're the ones that that was used to determine Diane Schindler's contract. So, I don't know how many versions are out there. I was only aware of one, but there are other versions which I'm not aware of. I'd like to see them.
Well, the fire chief one, there should only be one because that came out of that group in New Hampshire.
MRI.
All right. The administrator one was drafted locally, I believe. And I'm not aware of more than one, but if there are more than one, give us them all.
I'll give you everything that I have.
Give us the folder, and we'll go from there.
Time is not on my side tonight to send to you.
Well, I know, and Reggie was on the phone probably half the day with me, so neither one of us got much done. But, so I appreciate her schedule today was one crisis after another. Okay.
Is this the one from the, I don't even understand why they got involved in doing this.
Well, we paid MRI on this one a phenomenal amount of money.
And I believe this one here for job administrator was the draft that was done by the committee that was established to do the administrator's job.
So, but you're saying there's more than one?
Yeah, I know there is.
Well, I think there should only be one on the fire department, and then we need to have our whole committee here to review that, but they need to see it before then. Does everybody have email now?
Yeah, but here's the point. When we scored this job, you and I scored this
Yeah.
with the committee.
Which job are you talking about?
I thought we scored it off of this.
Oh, wait a minute, which
But
one?
then, the administrative position.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and, because that had a scoring. And then there was some changes because the board was working with that professional outfit, was it Municipal
Municipal Resourcing.
Employees Association or something.
But we didn't work with them on the,
Oh, I think they tweaked it.
we did?
I think they tweaked it. I might be wrong, but it sounded like they tweaked it.
All right, well, the easiest thing is let's get them all out, get them on the table. And for meeting next Tuesday, that's on the agenda for Tuesday. We'll meet with that veterans guy and we'll do the job descriptions. But send out a memo and implore all the members of the board to be here,
Okay.
because that's not something we want to do without
Full board.
everybody here.
But in the meantime, may we still move forward with help? And I only say that because we're coming into busy season again.
Well, can't we see if there's some people in town hall that want to pick up some extra hours that are similar duties that can go in there for the same pay?
But you still have to post it. It's the same.
Well, just expanding their hours on an emergency basis. And we've done that before where people have, they have 18 hours, but we want them to work an extra 10 hours to get this workload done. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel here.
Well, no, the only other thing would be easier if we went out on a contract basis. You're a temporary, but I don't know whether there's anybody, a commercial group out there that would supply temporary office help, and how much time it's going to take you to train
Right.
somebody.
I'll be honest with you, and it's not Reggie's fault, I know she's working, but I can't get in here trying to call his phone.
No.
And I know the complaints out there that anybody's trying to get in here can't get in.
Into our office?
To call and they leave messages or they just hang up out of frustration. Because they don't get picked up. And I know she's working.
Well, I mean, her and I exchanged missed phone calls 5 times at least today. She'd call me, I couldn't talk to her, I'd call her, she couldn't talk to me.
No.
It was a merry-go-round today. Well, so if you're looking for someone just to sit there and answer a phone, that's a different skill level.
Well, somebody can answer the phone, somebody can
More than that.
type off
More
the
than
tapes. I mean,
that. Yeah, I need more than that.
You need a transcript, you need a typist is there anybody in here that,
Eileen offered to do some of the minutes.
well, then let's take her up on it. If that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
and the same thing with anybody else can give you some time and some help in there.
Why don't you send around a memo that the select board office is in need of some temporary help, and we're looking to, if anybody's looking to expand their hours on a short term.
And for those who are under 20 hours, they're not going to be...
No, because it's not a schedule, it's not a routine thing, it's
Right.
not gonna be, we're gonna
It's a
deal
temporary-
with this in the next 13 months,
Emphasis.
13 weeks, I mean.
Emphasis on temporary.
Okay.
All right, you'll do that?
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't even ask you, but you can be here next Tuesday night, right?
Of course.
Thank you.
Reggie, how far behind are we on the minutes?
quite a bit. I've been keeping up to the most
Our actions
recent...
are dictated by the minutes being approved.
I'm
just saying.
keeping up with the current minutes. Those are all caught up. It's the ones prior. The ones when I did my maternity leave and then moved forward, those are the ones behind. Diana did not do the minutes when I was on leave for 12 weeks.
So those are a priority. When someone, those need to be done, because if the legal action takes place, we need to have those.
And this is temporary, and, I mean,
All right. Next, you're going,
The next items were just letting you know that I had sent out memos to departments asking for 2 things. One was for a list of their inventory. The second one was asking what is their backup plan?
for leadership.
For leadership, correct.
Leadership.
Correct.
Yeah, we've tried to do this before, and Reggie asked permission to do this time, and I said yes. That we don't, some of the departments don't have a succession plan if something happens to the primary person.
well, speaking for me, this is a very busy time of year, so you realize that we're not gonna get it instantaneously.
I wasn't expecting.
Okay.
No, but we need to start the process is the point. Because we've asked for it before. And Reggie's going to attend the small town administrators meeting. I said yes to that.
One last item is the posting of the meeting agenda policy. I would like to ask if you guys would hold off on reviewing. Eileen and I are trying to figure out a better way. That bulletin board that's outside the town hall is not large enough to hold all the meeting notices. So we're thinking of maybe putting a binder out there. So it's accessible 48 hours to the public.
So how did they get into the binder in that?
You chain it somehow out of...
I'm looking at it now, and there's like 6 or 7 postings, and you have the other side very empty. I mean, if it was
That's
policed on a
central.
weekly
It's gotta be
basis and...
outside the building.
What's
It
that?
has to be outside.
No,
the
I
building.
understand the bulletin board that's outside just started being used because you couldn't find the keys, right?
Yes.
Now that you found the keys, couldn't that be policed on every couple of days, take the old ones off and the new ones on? I'm sure you'd have plenty of room on that thing. I'm sure of it. Or condense them. Put a calendar out there and show the dates or
It's
something.
gotta have the agendas.
Yeah, you gotta have the agendas now.
Well, whatever has to be out there, I mean, it can hold about maybe 8 or 9 on each side. We should be able to maintain that rather than leave them out there for 6 months and not take them off.
For our meeting that we had, it's 2 pages. It took up almost half of the one side of the bulletin board.
Okay.
So it's fairly small compared to what we have out here. It's fairly small.
Well, let's see what we can do.
Come up with something. It's gotta be outside,
Right,
because we've already lost a couple of meetings because it wasn't done properly.
right.
All right. That's the
And
meetings.
that's it.
Okay. And then we did the extension. What we were coming back to, 7:30 for open time for the, open time for the public? Yes?
How you doing, Mike?
Good.
I've got some questions, and it has to do with funding. We're talking about funding this greenway.
Yeah.
We need $170,000, am I right?
I don't know that number from anywhere. No, I think it's,
$140,000 by the railroad.
that's
We need
not,
$170,000 for that. We've already plowed $1 million in on Strong Road.
Not $1 million, 750,000.
250,000 to buy it, wasn't it?
Yes, you're right.
So we got $1 million tied up
there's a
there.
million into it, yes.
We got another project behind us for the school, for another $1 million project. How are we gonna fund all of this?
Well, the school is a grant for 55% of it.
That's 55, that still leaves it for 450,000 plus. All right,
And the Greenway is a grant also. The only way we get that is a grant. We don't,
yeah, but you get half of it. That's 170,000.
I think it's more than that, isn't it?
Nice.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that means.
No, this open time for the public. If you have information, please.
Sure. Mike Bueller, Chair of the Greenway Committee.
Yeah,
Again, the appraised price of the parcel is $340,000.
Yeah.
For which we have applied to, submitted for a land grant, so-called, from the Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, which would provide 66% of the purchase cost, and we're going to be applying, submitting a formal application to the CBC for the balance, which would be plus minus $115,000.
all right.
The-
That just gets us the property.
Yeah.
How are we gonna fund the rest of it? We gotta pull up the rails. So apparently we've got somebody who's gonna pull the rails.
Right.
They're not gonna do that for free, are they?
They're doing it for the
This goes
south.
on and on. We don't.
Don't they do it
What
for
you
the-
guys said tonight, we don't have any funds. Do
Well,
we have any funds?
wait, one second. Let's do one. I think someone's going to pull the rails for the salvage, right? As I recall.
It hasn't been
I want to be
determined.
careful, there is an option out there.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and we're miles away from having
Right.
to do that, but there is an option out there for, and Ed's familiar with that now, called iron horse preservation, which comes in and will pull the rails, properly dispose of the ties, and provide you with, I'm going to call a basic regrind asphalt surface, which could be the foundation for a more permanent trail. That is an option out there, but that's all it is right now. But that would, using them, potentially could very substantially reduce the project cost.
There are certainly some expenses that we're facing out there. The school roof is,
The school roof is number one.
well, the school roof has little or no financing options other, for the 45% other than the town.
Which is better than $450,000.
No, let's back up again. The school is, we've only gave them $58,000 for design.
Well, I realize that.
You haven't taken into consideration, I mean, their project, they said, was between $750,000 and $1 million. Our share of the construction project could be up to $350,000 to $500,000 on top of it on that reimbursement rate. Okay, I understand what you're coming about. That's, I mean, roofs are a known thing, you're gonna change them, they're not there forever. There's gonna be a
I'm not
change.
arguing, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing that we shouldn't do it.
No.
I'm just saying,
Where's the money?
where's the money?
The-
We don't have any funds at this point.
We have a very limited amount of funds, and I agree with you. And we try to any major project comes through, most committees try to look for grants and stuff like that, and grants are very hard for Southampton because we're not eligible like a Springfield or like a Holyoke or somebody else like that because of the income means. And there's a lot of other issues that are coming down the line, which I agree with you on. The police department, fire department issues have to be resolved. Down the road is the highway department's gonna have to be resolved. We have road projects that are backing up that are not being resolved. Those are millions and millions of dollars. We need to, you know, we need to look at these things like we've done in the past and see what we can do to try to resolve these issues. But these are the ones that are coming forward that have some initiative, that have some way of funding them that we need to look at.
Well, let me ask you, on Strong Road, most of that's paid for, except now, we've got to finish the project. What's it gonna cost us to finish that project on Strong Road?
Well, currently, right now, we're building the project. We're building all the ball fields, all the parking areas. What we took out to make the project move was the concession stands, the toilets, some tree planting, and some playground area. We can live without that for the time being. As funds become available over a period of time, those can be put in there. But we built the project that can be used fairly close after we finish it. The amenities, the special stuff that people would like to see are on hold. They're on hold.
Do we have the funds to cover what we're gonna do?
We couldn't start unless we had them.
So we have the funds set aside.
We have
for
the
that.
funds to take care of that right now. What we're building are the ball fields, the parking areas, the water supply lines, and the drainage. Everything to make those fields operational when they're accepted.
So that's all.
What is not being done is a $150,000 building,
Yeah.
a $50,000, $60,000 playground area for tots, a concrete patio and area so people can congregate and sit, a $60,000, $70,000 leach field system, but we can get by without that and still have the fields. We can bring in portable potties when we have to. Once funds comes available, it was our intention to build it, to design it right, so we could phase it in, and that's what we're doing. We're building all the fields, all of them. We're going to supply the fields. No, I understand, I just want you to know.
I'm just looking at the funding. I've come here for a year and a half, and I have, for all the information that's out there, I know just a little bit enough to get.
Some of the stuff, George, is going to have to be bonded. I mean, quite honestly, we might have to bond that roof when it comes in because we're going to have to pay for it. We're going to have to pay for our share of it,
Yeah.
you know, and that part might even be a debt exclusion. There's a lot of possibilities on how we're going to have to finish the final payment on that when that roof is being built.
Well, we talked about a debt exclusion.
You know, when the fire department, police department, their plans are going to come forward within the next couple of years, that's going to be a big ticket item. Okay? Just like this building was a big ticket item. You have to bring it to the public. This was a little over $2 million. You had to bring it to the public. They supported it. It was a debt exclusion. We got the money. We're building it. We did a Spartan thing. We did, you know, bare bones for the most part, but we got a lot of bang out of our buck and we got a good building out of it. And we had a lot of help from community preservation. That was a catalyst in a lot of things getting done. So, you know, we're trying, but there's avenues of financing that we just don't have in our budget that we're going to have to go out and bond or get a debt exclusion for or, you know, an override.
Some of the things some debt exclusions are going to expire, like this, the school should be coming off.
In the
The
library.
library should be coming off. And not that you want to, but we may refinance, be like a homeowner, refinancing that money back out to pay for the roof that's on the school, because the school is now paid off.
Let me ask you another question that came up in the middle of the, and I should have asked it then. We paid $53,000 to have this roof planned, and I'm not using the correct words. Where do we get the $53,000?
Well, when you use somebody else's money, they set the guidelines and the controls.
Okay.
This is the Department of Ed that controls this whole thing. They set the guidelines, they have approved engineers and architects that we have to use. Okay? It doesn't mean we're going to spend $58,000 or $53,000. It means we have to have that money aside because it could cost up to $58,000. We might say,
That's the question.
but it's also, I believe there's an overseer involved with this as far as, and plus the architect.
And part of the problem is there's several different roof design structures up there.
Correct.
Because there's the old school and the new school, and so they may not be compatible or similar or dissimilar, as the case may be, when they design it.
And this is, I mean, this particular program is a faster approach than the conventional way. The conventional way would be 3 or 4 years down the road, and it would get worse. This is a fast-track type of program.
Well, it's leaking, and it's not gonna get any better.
No, we're
There's both ways around us.
Yeah, we're either gonna put a roof on and someone's gonna pay 55%, or we're gonna put a roof on and we're gonna pay 100%.
Exactly.
Sooner or later, we're gonna put a roof on.
Preference for me. I'm just, you know.
No,
I'm just asking questions.
No, and George, you asked very good questions, and hopefully the public will get an understanding of what we're doing here. There's,
One of the sad things, and I've lived in this town for 35 years, I should have been going to these meetings a long time ago. And some of the things that we passed up in this town, we should have never, let go. The Schmidt thing, that was the old Fruery property.
hindsight is
I
wonderful.
just had to look at your face, Ed, and I know exactly what you're gonna say, right? It was a home run,
It was a home run.
no? It was a home run, and we let it go by,
yeah.
right?
But you know that now, I know that now. But,
Hindsight is great. I agree.
and,
The property next to the school? Yeah.
We had a shot at that property,
Yeah.
better than a shot,
it was a very good shot.
and it would have, Strong Road would have never come up.
Wouldn't it be necessary?
No.
We don't have, the trouble is.
But, on the other hand, George, when you and I moved to this town back in the 70s, we had 12 or 1,300 people. We got over 6,000 people now. There's 4 or 5 times the amount of people here than we have, that they have needs. We haven't expanded out that well with infrastructure. I mean, we got a lot of new streets, but, the departments haven't expanded out that well, to accommodate all. We've just been absorbing it. The amount of playgrounds that are out there has been absorbed. The physical facilities we have, except for this new building, were the same ones back then. They haven't changed, and you're asking people to keep functioning out of these things. They change. And, now the growing pains are starting to bother us, and more things need to be addressed. The police and fire is a big thing that has to be addressed. They need quality air, they need quality facilities, and we're asking them to stay where they are, and actually, they're not great places to work out of,
No, I agree with you.
okay?
Don't get an argument.
I mean, thank God we got this building here, and we moved the personnel that was in the town hall over here. It's night and day. I don't think any of them would say they're not grateful for this new building. They are, But we're trying, and people like you can help us by just asking these questions, getting it out there, communicating, and there are good projects out there all along,
No, don't get me wrong.
No, I understand that, and I agree with you about the money thing, but money is,
I don't see any way of saving or putting money aside anymore. We put, $200,000 aside 2 months ago. That following month, somebody wanted here and took $500,000 of it, and it was only $200,000 to play with.
I agree.
Right?
But, it's unforeseen.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky that during, many of these events these weather events, we didn't lose a roof or lost a building or anything like that. Then we were in some severe trouble.
Well, one advantage of the town is it's small, and you have people who go working here, pardon my expression, give a damn, okay? And I'm not pointing you out or anybody else out, is that the town is small enough, we can still control things. You still have some control. If you don't like something, somebody can do something about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Sitting up here, it doesn't always feel like we have control.
But George, I mean, those are good questions, don't stop asking them. I mean, we don't have the money, but we'll have to find a way to develop that money, whether it's a grant, whether it's a bond issue or an override. If people feel it's necessary and needed, they're the key persons, they vote for it. We can only bring it to them, But that's what we're working on.
All right. George, answer your question? Thank you. We've got to we're trying to move on here. We did the interim town administrator's report. Calendar and announcements, we've now added a meeting on October 9th. 16th and 30th. Oh, 3 meetings this month.
Well, we didn't have any last,
I know it. So 9, 16, and 30. October 10th, Community Preservation Committee meeting. Is that your meeting to take projects?
Yes, it is.
So for the general public who might be paying attention to us,
I hope so.
that would be their time to come and pitch a project to you, to spend some of that community preservation money.
Yeah.
All right, and that's Mrs. Ahart speaking in the background. November 6th is the presidential election. Do we have to sign a warrant for that? So,
you have to sign a warrant for that election.
that election. So,
Is that a Tuesday?
I think so.
yeah, it is. So when calculating out is when we have to sign that warrant, to make sure we have a meeting.
14 days. So that has to be posted.
October 10th?
So we should have,
We'll
no,
have, the other thing too is, they've got a special town meeting that's technically, tentatively the 20th, but I don't know if that's still active.
that's changing.
Yeah,
So let's, the November 6th, we need 14 days, so that takes it back to, can't be the 30th meeting, it's got to be ready for the 16th meeting.
I believe so.
The warrant needs to be on the 16th meeting.
Does that warrant come from us or from the state?
It comes from the state to Eileen's office, who then gives it to
Okay,
this,
so
to our office.
it's not here yet, though.
No,
No.
no.
But we have to make sure we sign it.
Yes.
We did that once, we're not doing that twice.
We got in trouble.
Got in trouble. That was a trip to Boston for no good reason. All right, so that's that. Now we're to the special town meeting on November 20th. Reggie's been digging into this during the day today, and where are we?
The whole reason why we scheduled that special town meeting on November 20th was for the Greenway. But in talking with Cecile Reichel from EOEEA, we have time to schedule. If you want to postpone your meeting, you may do so until December. But she strongly advised that we do not rush through this article for the Greenway, and that we make sure we have everything in place. So,
Excuse me, Reggie, she is the person we're anticipating the grant application to?
yes, we sent it to her, yes.
Okay.
So we wouldn't want to do
But
anything.
why are we at this
It's
area?
typically is what she said, they would like towns to accept town meeting votes for the funding. Excuse me, I said it backwards. To accept the article, I don't have my notes in front of me, but, this is
There's-
something that we normally do when you get a grant, you apply for a
You
grant.
accept the grant.
You accept it at town meeting, that's what we're doing.
But we can't accept it if we don't know it's been approved.
Correct. And also, this is something I didn't get to say to you as well, and I saw your email this afternoon. We need to begin the negotiations now, according to Seal. So,
There's some question as to who had the authority to negotiate for the property. That was one issue.
yes,
Second issue was the question about whether the article itself was properly drawn.
correct.
That we may need to redo the article that there was some thought that we could use the Wolf Hill model, and we can't, as I understand it, and the article was drafted with Wolf, in similar fashion to Wolf Hill, and it's inappropriate at this time, and it needs to be redrafted, and we probably can't get it done in time.
Community preservation cannot and will not even vote on the proposal to community preservation, worded the way it is in that article. We have been advised by the Community Preservation Coalition Executive Director that there are many problems in that article, and that if we were to go ahead as it is written now, community preservation might be responsible for the whole amount of the money.
And you don't have the whole amount.
And we don't have that whole amount. And there are many other, Stuart, the executive director, said, you just should not, absolutely should not forward your part of that.
So the question becomes, who's going to draft the new article?
Katie?
You want to hear what?
I should not have asked that question.
Too late.
I want to write.
But I think all you need to do is to move that the town, well, now they've got to accept the grant too, so that means this meeting will negate that. I don't think you need all that other stuff. Part of it would be to move that the town requests the Board of Selectmen to enter into negotiations with Pioneer Valley Railroad for the purpose of purchasing the rail trail, and you need your locations.
Description.
Contingent upon receiving, and I think we need to say, and the town accepting the grant, amount of the grant. And then the wording isn't good yet. And with the town's share of the matching, whatever that part is, funds to come from community preservation.
So it's a rather simple warrant article as compared to the rather lengthy one that was proposed.
I do want to point out that twice in the past, the Wolf Hill one was reworked prior,
It was worked on the town floor.
before it went to town meeting. And a similar one was a conservation restriction on the Howland property, which almost got voted down because it had so much work that had to be done on the floor of town meeting. So I think you need to have something like this, it should have, in the town's acceptance of the grant.
So when do we want to schedule a town meeting to do that warrant article?
Well,
I think it could be done.
the question I have is, do you have a project in front of you presented yet?
Do I have?
Yes.
I will have a project in front of me on October 10th.
Okay, so,
That will be coming.
okay, so October 10th, you're going to have a project.
And
Okay,
then-
once the project is established, you will put verbiage out there for the article. My suggestion, you should be CCing town council at the same time, because we don't have time, and whoever's involved with the grant, this woman from the Grant Association, or whatever, I don't know her name, but she should be CC'd at the same time, and everybody should be on the same page. I've seen it time and time again, that the town council approved it, they sent it to the state or the bonding agency, they didn't like the verbiage, they sent it back, we need to, and I'm not trying to give you extra work, but it needs to be done all at the same time, and all the parties should put their 2 cents in before a final version is given.
I can actually, when I have time later this week, talk with both of these women.
Who is our town council on this?
Katie Klein.
Who?
Katie Klein.
And she hasn't responded back from any of this correspondence, or has she?
Well, we got notification that this was, we're going in the wrong direction.
Right.
So it's
But
back.
that came from Stewart.
That came from Stuart.
That came from Stewart, not town council. I was under the impression town council hasn't responded yet.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Yep.
Best as I can discern from my conversations with Charlie, town council has expressed a general level of approval for the article as written. And that they haven't, but I haven't got any information about certain specific questions we have. For example, the use of the term eminent domain.
So
in
they,
the article is currently written.
did I understand you said they expressed a general consent or approval of the article?
That's my understanding.
But some other person has now indicated that you might, community preservation might have a problem if the wording was accepted that way.
Correct.
I would be surprised if, at how much our town council is involved at this point.
What was that again? I couldn't hear you.
How much the town council might have been involved with this at this point?
You don't think she was or wasn't?
I don't think the communication lines are good. But up front, when I saw this, I emailed a copy to Stuart, who is the community preservation person. He's the one that knows that backwards and forwards. And because I was uncomfortable. And he immediately called me and we had a long chat about this. And he pointed out all the different things. He said he wasn't even clear on that article what was wanted. He said, you have to start with what you want. And that isn't even clear in the letter.
All right, so we're going back to the drawing board. The question I still come back to is when do we want to schedule an annual a special town meeting to handle your article?
This is mine.
For
Yep.
point of information, was just working backwards, how far in advance does the article have to be approved? Or how
At least
far in
three-
advance have to be, the meeting have to be?
We need to have a bona fide article at least 3 weeks, 3 complete weeks before it goes to town meeting. That's being posted 3 weeks ahead of time. That doesn't leave much more than 15 to 20 days to work on this thing.
14 days is the legal terminology to post a special town meeting warrant. So if the board still continue to move with November 20th, we need to sign that warrant on October 30th. If you stay with that date. If you want to push and postpone it to December,
Or
to
do we-
get further
I'm sorry.
information.
Excuse me, I don't want to propose, personally, I don't want to drag it out around December, because it's Christmas season, there's a lot of people's got activities and things going on. I think right around Thanksgiving is probably the best time that you would think to get, it's going to be a long meeting, I would think, and a discussion involved with this meeting. And people are going to want to put time into it. But
Or do you want to?
I think that we have to have an article that addresses it properly, and that we're not told it doesn't address it from the financial side, from the grantee or the grant, or the Commonwealth, or whoever's involved with it, or our town council. We need to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Or do we want to push it back into January?
But Reggie, did you say we couldn't go that far?
Before this year, is my understanding.
Well, she said that, but she also said if we need to push it to January, call Cecile Reichel from EOEA, and she will help us. I explained our situation to her. I explained our situation to her today, and that was her advice.
So, I mean, those are our choices. Rush it for November 20th, or postpone it to, and I agree with that. December's a wasted month. We're not going to do it. Go into January, the dark and dreary months, and
I can only give you a partial answer, and it's because I'm simply not experienced about what it takes to put together an article like he's speaking out of school. Otherwise, from a political perspective, I would love to have this vote before Thanksgiving, because we have been communicating actively in the community.
yeah.
There is momentum, there is energy.
I agree with you.
Everybody's expecting this vote. But that's the only answer I can give. I have to defer to you about the sense of process and what it takes to get your opinion.
Has
from
Eileen started the
town council.
process for November 20th town meeting?
She's,
Waiting.
We do that, waiting,
She's waiting.
Is there other business on November 20th?
yes.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, we talked about the one item you and I, Mrs. Ahart has some housekeeping to do for community preservation. If I'm thinking positive, if the union contracts are completed, we will have to do that. I'm not sure where we are going to be with free cash.
No, we can't do it until we know free cash, any contracts. You know what I'm saying? We don't know we got the money.
Well, that's what she said. We can't,
I've got a blockage in
No,
there.
that's-
if we'd be doing union contracts if we know what the free cash is.
So those are the only items right now.
No, and then you have that fuel repair at the highway department, it's gotta be done.
Yes.
The 35.
Yeah.
But
So,
if everybody wants to do it on the 20th, I'm willing to ask the board's permission to work with town council to get our end done timely, but it's up to the board.
when you say our end done, you mean the warrant?
Meaning the warrant and...
Yeah, I mean, I would just as soon do it sooner, but I'm just saying if we can't, it's a rush to get it done. And I have no time to get it done.
I mean, I know how important it is, whether people are in favor of it or not, it should be brought forward. There's a lot of activity out there. But I don't want to rush an article, but I think the problem I see is communication problems. And we need to get the communication problems all on the same page. And if the board wants, I will take time to make sure our legal people are up in center and doing what they're supposed to do for us to get this for November 20th. In a week or two, if we're into this and we can do it, that's my suggestion.
Make a motion, I'd like to make a motion to progress with an article that is legible and possible for a town meeting in November on the 20th.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So let's get a timeline going. We need that warrant article drafted and approved by us by,
Before October 30th. That's when you're going to sign. Well, here's the other thing. Talking to Charlie, or maybe it was you, you guys are coming in to meet with the select board on October 30th. Was that ever conveyed back to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we understood that that would be,
Yeah.
on the premise that we're meeting November 20th, we understood that would be the deadline.
Okay.
I think the question is, who is going to be meeting with the select board on that day? Who's going to be bringing the article forward?
Correct. Well, I've already talked to Katie Klein, and after she and Miss Virginia's talk, we're moving forward with that article.
Well,
If-
I just want to
Start
clear it up.
fresh.
Do you want me to be involved with this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Ed.
you have the
Okay.
experience.
Speaking to the Greenway Committee, I would
Yeah, you have the experience.
All right.
And you're here in town and you know the
All right.
player. So, but the problem is that we now, if this November 20th, it can't be signed any later than,
It's got to be
The
signed on
30th,
October
right?
30th.
Yeah.
That's the deadline, that's it.
What day of the week is that?
Tuesday.
Okay, so that'll work.
Community preservation, I will have a meeting of community preservation. The proposals are supposed to come in on October 10th. And I'll make sure within a week or so, the next week, that we'll have a meeting to work on this one at least. The proposal, which I think will go pretty quickly. I can't promise that all the community preservation people are on board, but they have seemed to be. So I assume that
why don't we plan to have a joint meeting of the Greenway, the Community and Conservation Committees here on November, what did we say? October 30th. And have it.
That's already, that's already been scheduled with Conservation and Greenway. You would like to include community
I think we should,
preservation?
if we have the more, everybody's here, communication should be open and free, and we should,
And if there's any questions, all the parties are here to answer.
yeah, we got everybody's here. And then,
And then we'll know if we have an approved article from all the parties.
right, and at that point in time, we can back up and reassess if November 20th is no longer practical.
Good.
Is that date okay?
You may.
Who else needs to weigh in on this article?
Finance Committee,
Yeah,
Finance Committee.
should go through them. They should be
They
on
can be
your,
invited. They should be invited.
Well, I was going to do that.
yeah, they should come to that meeting too, but you should be CCing them on anything with money. Just, although they have no control over community preservation money.
No.
But they still
No,
should be,
they should.
they still should know where the
We'll be
money's
making a recommendation on the...
on the floor. And I guess town clerk should be kept in the loop too, because she's gotta
And Mr. Floyd.
Oh, and, yeah, Mr. Floyd, well, he doesn't,
Well, we'll be reviewing the articles that night if we're...
yeah, so he'll have to be, so you need him here that night. That's right, too. Do we need to discuss who has the authority to negotiate tonight? Are we supposed to do that, or do we resolve that issue, or?
I think we was, go ahead.
Again, a follow-up question to what Celia said.
Oh.
When she says we need to have started negotiations, do you have a sense in any detail what she means by that?
I didn't ask
She
for
want
the,
us, one step short of P&S, or?
Well, I'm sure Cecilia, or that's her name, Cecilia,
Cecilia.
is going to go along with what we're required by statute. I personally don't know if we're the final say on this, or the committee is. We might be required to say yes to your negotiation price.
We looked into that today.
right, and town council said, you, the select board, appointed the Greenway, they have a right to,
That we gave our right to negotiate over to them.
That's fine, but who approves it? That's what I want to know.
Well, they would have to, the approval would come from the money issue, that we'd have to approve the money issue.
Okay.
In our discussions within the Greenway Committee, I think, in all honesty, we have no interest in leading that negotiation. Okay, we have, I don't know if you know April West.
Yes.
April's a very active member of the committee. Our picture, as far as it's gone, is that there would be a group charged with doing this negotiation, including a member of the select board, town council in some capacity, April, and presumably Charlie or someone from the Concom. We really do not, based on what we know now, we don't feel that we're the appropriate body to be leading that negotiation. You need everybody, all the right bodies represented.
We negotiated, the select board negotiated the Strong Road property. We invited the Labries to come in and negotiate at that point in time. I guess if we're to do that, if the select board is going to do the negotiation as opposed to the committee, then I would suggest that we request Western Mass Railroad to come in and talk to us.
It's Pioneer Valley.
Or Pioneer Valley, I'm sorry. How does the board choose to proceed?
This board, or you're talking bike?
This board, the bike board, the bikeway has indicated that they...
I would, first of all, this would be an executive session, am I right?
Yes, well, we need the appraisal, I don't know that we have
There's
it.
two appraisals from understanding.
Right, we would
Two.
need,
Well, we have, the relevant appraisal was the one that was updated.
we do have to.
Which came in at the same number, 340, as the one done in 09.
Okay. Since you don't want to do negotiation. No. If you want a committee, are you recommending a committee? Are you recommending a committee? Or you want to add support to what we discussed when we go into executive session? What are you recommending?
I'm recommending that a member of the Greenway Committee, a member of the Concom, a member of the Select Board, and Town Council, as appropriate, work together to negotiate the railroad.
well, I would suggest that the town council is only going to be a bit involved to the extent that you come up with a question. They're not going to be physically present at that thing.
They'll come for the contract, developing the contract.
But they're not going to physically sit in and at least...
Why?
Why are we going to pay them?
I mean, if you feel comfortable, I would suggest it this way. If you feel comfortable, we would have an executive session to do this negotiation. We would want the parties that were involved with this, namely the bike path, the conservation, community preservation, to be either a consultant to us or somebody's going to supply us advice through what you brought to their discussion. So when we sit down, we would need to know that.
Happy to be here.
So if that's what you want and you think it's doable, I'd make a recommendation that we do the final negotiations.
Well, because if I'm understanding, we have to be in the process of negotiation by the terms of the grant.
I believe so.
So we've just filled up October 9th, we're now working on the 16th, what else is on the 16th?
It's all predicated, we might be dealing with other nights other than our Tuesday night.
Right, but I'm looking to start figuring out what's on October 16th now.
The only thing you have right now, 6:30, you have auditors coming in, talking about entrance conference. You have an appointment with an attorney, Mr., I don't know, chop his name, So you do have time. And then you'll have your joint meeting with the boards and committees.
Here's another suggestion. Before we tie up the select board with a lot of time wasted on, developing a price, maybe we should think, Mike, of developing maybe 2 select boards members and maybe Reggie and somebody from the bike path and sit down with these people, get the preliminary stuff out of the way and find out where we're talking.
Sure.
And then bring it to a meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Greenway would be happy to provide the framework for a
Yeah.
proposal. I mean, it's not like we haven't been discussing this.
Yeah.
We,
I think it would be faster to work around that and then bring it to the board when we're close. And then the board as a whole can deal with getting it down to a final number.
then, I just had a thought. Getting old.
You want some water?
Some brains would help. Well, we're up against that October 30th deadline.
I don't think
But that negotiations have to be, just started.
No, I know, but we need
Parallel
to,
process.
right, we need to find out, that's what my thought was, we need to find out when the railroad people are available before we can even start talking about the process. We have to know whether they're willing to come to a meeting and when they're available to come to that meeting. To me, you may find that they're not accessible in the evening or afternoons or
Well, I'm
morning.
saying that's why maybe we
Yeah.
have a small committee to go there or here and meet midway and start resolving
Well,
some of
we
the...
need to have a conversation with them as to when they'd like to, where they'd like to conduct, we'd like to meet with them to conduct discussions on the purchase of the property.
Well, my suggestion on that is, like,
April
Purple West has been talking to them.
So she knows this?
Yeah, she has a nice relationship with Mike Bradley, with whom we...
So, maybe we can develop this committee and name it tonight, or we gotta do it soon,
Yep. It's gotta be done
to
tonight.
work with her for the negotiation.
All right, who's,
And the final negotiation will be for here. We want to bring it as close as possible so we can work the numbers, 1 or 2 meetings with the Board of Selectmen.
all right, who wants to be on that committee? I can't. If it's daytime, I can't.
I can do it as long as snowstorms don't stop me. Okay.
Can you?
Sure.
Thank you.
I apologize, but I just can't do days. So,
And then I'm assuming that Charlie or
somebody from that
somebody
company.
from the Concom would be present.
Right,
Okay.
all right. And we still have to be mindful of that October 30th deadline, no matter what happens. Because then we're either gonna pull the plug on that night or go full,
Right.
or go ahead. So that October 30th, the plug can get pulled because we're not ready.
Painfully aware.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Is that hard? No? All right, did I do the whole thing?
No.
What did I miss?
I can make under, I think, old business there, the veterans plaques.
Where is
The
this?
Civil War Memorial.
Oh, out front?
Front and Revolution.
Yep.
Talking with Jackie Sears, Dick Ferrari, Dave Bernier, and Ruth, we'd like to have a dedication around November 11th, which is Veterans Day. There's really not a lot going on. Maybe some people do, but November 11th is a Sunday. We'd like to have small ceremonies to dedicate those facilities that we just finished building. Mr. Bernier has access of bringing in a Revolutionary unit, and the Northampton Revolutionary unit could come in, and we're going to talk about bringing a speaker in from one of the military units around here, and we would like to do it Sunday. And those 5 people I named would like to be a small ad hoc committee to put it together. And Mike, we would definitely try to find out if you were available, because as chairman, we would like to have you there.
Monday be a better shot at.
Okay, well then, They want the 11th.
Yeah.
These people won't be there Monday.
No. I'm not sure right now.
Okay, but it's in the works. I think there's a lot of people in there that are being recognized, and they wanted to do it around July 4th, but we weren't able to get the monuments established, so.
Somebody make a motion that those 5 members be committed, those 5 persons be appointed to the committee, the Veterans Memorial Celebration Committee.
I'll make a motion to have
Dedication Committee?
Dedications Committee.
Veterans Memorial Dedication Committee.
individuals appointed for the Veterans Memorial Dedication Committee.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For clarification, can I bother you who the names are again?
Ruth Bernier, Dave Bernier, Dick Ferry, Jackie, and myself.
And I thought that was already set, and I talked to Senator Nabick's aide, and I already gave him the date, so.
November 11th?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right, does that complete the agenda? Yes?
And next week, we are working on those 2 positions.
Yes.
We don't have anything, there's 2 things we're working on, right?
3, you're reviewing the fire chief, the town administrator, and the veterans agent. You asked
Correct.
to review the job description, you also asked to have that Mr. Hennings come in for an appointment. And I think that was it.
Can you get those job descriptions out
Yes.
and
I
distribute?
have them on my desk, they were ready to get scanned, like I said, time wasn't on my side.
All right, so,
I'd like to say one thing, excuse me.
yeah.
Ian at the police department is working on the block captain program.
The what?
And I'll be getting back together with him.
Block Captain Program.
He's going to call it something else, but along those same lines.
All right, anything else? Stop asking him.
No, you stop asking me, but oh yeah. Could you talk to Vicki and find out where we are, or how close we are of getting an idea of last year's numbers?
Okay.
Okay. Because we still have to move funds around.
Yeah, we talked today, and what I get is close, but not close enough.
Okay. I'd like to know what's holding up to get it done.
She has some questions.
I know. I just want to go through official channels, that's all.
Okay.
But, we want to know where we are, because there's a lot of things predicated on what we're doing, and what that meeting's going to be all about on the 20th if we do it. So I'd like to have some kind of a working number, and we'll see where we are.
Okay.
All right? One more time. Anything else?
I was
No,
going to
shut up.
tease you and say raise my hand, but no.
Adjourn. What did Jesse used to say? Dissolve?
Resolved. Resolved, resolved.
I guess that's the appropriate language.